To my website, thecrazymanininthepinkwig.com. If you want to see the first week's presentation, it's on there under My Videos. The website continues to be updated. Again, it's part blog, so there's a question of the day every week, every day of the week, and you have a chance to answer that question. And if it happens to be the money question, meaning you answer it first and it's correct, at the end of the month, I will declare the winner, and somebody will win $100 every month. So get on there, try to answer the question. You can do your research. You can go find out the answer and bring it in and say it. So feel free to do that. Okay, got a lot of people here. Good. Again, I'm proud of you for making it. First thing I want to do today is talk about our 3 vice presidents that are part of our club. They're here to assist you. So if you cannot reach me, or if you want to reach me, but maybe you feel like, I don't want to talk to Finley, you can talk to one of these 3 students. They'll be more than happy to share what they can with you, and again, bring you in contact with me if necessary. And again, I'm always here to help you, whether that be sitting down at lunch in the union, you give me a call, you give me an email, I'll sit down with you and talk about specifics that deal with your life. So the first person I'd like to introduce, Nate Ross. He's one of our vice presidents. Nate, he's been with us since the beginning, so Nate's somebody you can go to. Daniel Swift. Daniel's another one of the vice presidents. He's here to help you as well. And Elena Duwan. And Elena's also here, and she'll be doing some of her techno this week, this semester as well. So, before I get started with the financial plan, the net worth statement, and the spending plan, what is this thing? That's that financial literacy journey I talked about in the first week. Notice it doesn't just go straight up, because that's not how life is. You're going to experience a lot of ups and a lot of downs to try to reach financial happiness. It's a journey. And it'll stay a journey for all of us. And you're going to have your down periods. It's going to be challenging at times. Even as you acquire more knowledge and you start applying it, sometimes you'll stumble. You'll take a step back. But focus on what you know. Focus on doing what's right for you and your family. And you'll keep moving forward. That's an important message, and I really hope you take it to heart. Now, the next thing I'd like to point out are these black things in here. What are these things? I call them craters. They are craters. If you fall in a crater, it takes a while to get out. You fall in the big craters, it takes a long time to get out. Some craters are so deep, you have to have multiple people who help you get out. Foreclosed loan officers, bankruptcy lawyers. So we want to be careful to avoid those craters. And how do you end up in a crater? Well, I'll tell you how you end up. The same way that I ended up in craters. I had a blindfold on me. And when I say a blindfold, I mean a blindfold. I mean, I could not see where I was going financially. If we don't know where we're going, guess what? We're going to fall in a lot of craters. This is what financial ignorance looks like. Get a good look at it. It's real. And that's what this semester is about. It's taking that financial ignorance and throw it aside. Because you don't need it. Financial literacy takes that blindfold off. And it helps you to avoid all of these craters as you walk around and avoid them. But we got to see them to be able to avoid them. And I'm painting a picture here, but that's real life. I promise you. That is real life. There are so many craters out there for you to make a total mess of your life financially. We have to take that blindfold off. Let's get started. First thing I want to talk about tonight is the financial plan. Why have a financial plan? Well, it's a blueprint. It's something that provides us a chance to move forward with our life. We actually have something that drives our behaviors, drives our actions. It gives us direction. We must have a financial plan. You will see a financial plan at my website, thecrazymanwiththinkwig.com. There's an example there. There's also a document that explains the financial plan. You can use that. Look at it as a template. Download it, copy it, and then make your own. Dream. It's very easy to have a lot of dreams in life, but dreams come true when we make them goals. And that means we write them down on a piece of paper or an Excel spreadsheet, but write them down. Turn dreams into goals. And the way you do that is identify them and write them down on a piece of paper. Make them yours. Goals will drive you going forward. And the lack of a goal, meaning winging it, meaning wearing that blindfold, you're just flailing in the wind. And that won't serve you or the people who care about you well at all, long into the future. Focus on those goals. I would encourage you to start with long-term goals. Just step back and think, what do I want? And once you figure out your long-term goals, and this is where you brainstorm. I don't want you to limit yourself. I want you to really try to think about things that you want. Here's an example. You want to buy a home. And you're thinking, okay, it's 2013. I want to buy a home in 2020. Okay, so that's 7 years. Okay, so that's the long-term goal. Think of long-term goals as beyond a year. Short-term goals in the next year, over the next few months. So I'm looking at that real estate, that home that I want to buy, and then I start backtracking. I start making all these short-term goals that lead me to that long-term goal. So I start figuring out, okay, I'm going to buy this home in 2020. Well, where am I going to buy it? Okay, I want to live in Des Moines, Iowa. Okay, Des Moines. Well, how much of a home? How much is this going to cost? Okay, well, I do some research. I see it's going to cost me $200,000. Okay, so I'm going to lay down 20% on that home because come real estate time, I'm going to tell you to do that. So 20% on $200,000. That's $40,000. And it's easy for any one of us to think, dude, that's a lot of money. I can't even think about having $40,000. Well, guess what? It's 7 years off. So we start setting these short-term goals to achieve that $40,000 down payment. And that means we start backtracking. Okay, I need this much money per year. And then I need this much money per month. And when we get the month part, now we're in our short-term goal period. Maybe I have to save $300 a month. And I'm going to save $300 in a Target Retirement Fund 2020 at Vanguard. Now I just said some stuff that you probably think, what is he talking about? What I was doing right there was being specific. The more specific you are with your goals, the better chance of you reaching those goals. Be specific. Rather than saying, I'm going to try to save some money. That's not specific. And it's unlikely you're going to reach that kind of goal. I'm going to save $300 a month. That is a specific goal. Set specific goals, long-term and specifically short-term. It's very important. Goals drive our behaviors. Long-term, short-term, specific. And then I have this thing I call the hidden plan. The hidden plan is another financial plan that's full of some amazing goals, dreams maybe. It's yours. Don't let anybody see it. You sit down by yourself, you write it out. These may be outrageous dreams. These may be things that you think people would laugh at me if I ever told them. Well, that's okay. Don't tell them. The hidden plan is your dream plan. It's okay, but put it down on paper. I don't want to know about it. I would recommend you not tell anyone. Make it yours. Dream big. Think big. Go down that path that's less traveled. Make it your path. How often? Once a year. I would encourage you to do it on Money Day. You'll hear me talk about Money Day throughout this presentation. Money Day is the day that we select during the year. Some people do it in December. Some people do it in January. That's where you sit down and you take care of all of your financial needs and your plans. So you do it as an individual, or maybe you do it as a family. If you have a family, do it collectively. Bring everybody together and start looking at your plan and some of these other documents. This would also include your insurance needs. Basically anything dealing with money. And yes, this may take 3-4 hours. It's worth it. Because your financial future is at stake. And that's why we need a financial plan. It drives our behaviors. Again, you'll see an example at my website. You'll also see a video on recommended viewing at my website. You can see a financial plan playing out right in front of your eyes. Any questions on the financial plan? The first one is the hardest. And here's a piece of advice that I think is good. Don't work so hard at it. Don't make it out to be some big deal. Just get it done. Get that first one done. Get a few goals set. It becomes easier as you proceed to the next year, and the next year, and the next year. Because you should do that, again, one time every year on Money Day. Next thing I want to talk about is the spending plan. Now, the spending plan is something that if you don't track your money, if you don't keep track of what money is coming in and what's going out, you're screwed, folks. You're winging it. Which, if you remember, in the first week when I talked about, that's what I was doing. I was winging it. And I was broke at the age of 25 because of that kind of behavior. I just thought, well, you know, I'm making more money so I can afford to spend a little more money. And I was kind of saving whatever was left, which was almost nothing usually. So, what is a spending plan exactly? That is a document that, again, you can find at my website. I have an example for you. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You can download it, make it your own. I have the formulas set up within the spreadsheet. I also have a document there that explains what a spending plan is. Some people call a spending plan a budget. I don't. I'll tell you when I get to the budget part. All I want you to do is track how you're spending your money. And so, an important part of that is figuring out, how do I do this in a simple way that I can stick to it? You can use either cash or card. In the old days, people used cash. They called it envelope method. You account for everything you spend, you write it down using your cash, and you can do that. But I'm not going to talk too much about that because in today's society, I don't think that's going to apply to a lot of people. If it does, good for you. But most people are going to use a debit card or a credit card. What I recommend to you is use one. Whatever that one is that works for you. Whether that's a debit or a credit. I personally use a credit card, but a debit card may be the right card for you. But use that only to buy and purchase everything you possibly can in your day-to-day life. Why? Because if you do that, it's all going to be on one statement. One. Again, simple. So you take that one statement at the end of the month, you print it off, you look at it online, and you start making categories. My entertainment, my utilities, my cable bill, my phone bill. You simply put those categories in the Excel spreadsheet, make it your own, figure out how much you're spending. This is how much I'm making. Where's the gap? The gap is the difference between income coming in and money going out. Here's a big point. If you want to achieve wealth, expand that gap. If you want to survive and live paycheck to paycheck, don't have a gap. So, use a card or cash, but use the method that you can stick to, that you can do every week and every month. Now, for a lot of people, especially if a spending plan is kind of new to you, I would encourage you to do this on a weekly basis. So what does that mean? Use your credit card, let's say. Well, every week you go into your statement and you write down everything you spent money on. And then you put that information on your spreadsheet. And then the next week you do the same thing. By doing that, you're basically keeping close track of your spending. Because this is kind of new to you. It's natural. As you become more comfortable with this method, you can do it once a month at the end of the month. It takes maybe 15 minutes. I spend about 15 minutes on my spending plan every month. That's not much time. It's doable, it's simple, and you want to keep it to a point that you can repeat month after month after month. We must track our expenses. Weak spots. Weak spots. We all have these. This is where there's something specific to you that you have a weak spot on. Maybe it's cars. Maybe it's clothing. Maybe it's shoes, purses. Maybe it's electronics. I'm not here to beat you up. We all have those. We're human beings. I want you to identify your particular weak spot. And when you do, that's when I want you to bring in the word budget. You got to budget for your weak spot. Let's say it's clothing. Let's say you love clothing. Then you provide yourself a very specific budget for clothing every month. Based off your income, you look at it, you think, I'm thinking 120 bucks. I cannot spend more than 120 bucks a month on clothing. If that's the case, you don't go over $120 a month, period. You don't do it. You track that spending on clothing carefully during the month, and when you get close to 120, you know, I got to stop. I will not buy any more of that. Identify your weak spot, focus on it, don't go over that amount. And again, I'm not here to beat you up. Don't beat yourself up. There's things we like. It makes us human. Just identify them and control them, or they will control you. Next thing I want to talk about is the 30-day waiting period. This works, folks. 30-day waiting period is when we're looking at something and we want it. It's a want, not a need. But boy, would it be great. Maybe it's a new phone, a new toy. Talk about a big boy toy. Maybe it's a new outfit. It could be anything. Give yourself 30 days before you buy that want. 30 days. That will stop your impulse buying. After 30 days, did you have a comment?
There might be some sale. You need to get
I know! It's on sale! It's not going to be on sale in 30 days, right? Well, when we get into the advertising phase, that's a wonderful comment there. Advertising is meant to get you to buy now! Yeah. You don't have to buy now. Matter of fact, that will benefit them and not so much you. So we have to get through that whole thing in our head that says we have to buy because it's on sale. No, you don't. The 30-day waiting period works. Yes, Tracy?
But I like to go to the mall. It's something to do.
It is. Shopping has become a verb. It has become an activity in our life. And you've made it very easy, I say you, society, we people have made it very easy for businesses to sell their products. They don't have to convince us to show up at their store. We just walk right in. Hey, how we doing? You've made it so much easier for them. And I say you, the population. So what I'm saying there is, think twice about shopping. So, the 30-day waiting period. After 30 days, you said, okay, Finley, I'm not going to buy any once until I've waited 30 days. If I still want it after 30 days, and I've got the cash to buy it, I may use a credit card or a debit card, but I've got the money to buy it, have at it. Go ahead. I'm not here to restrict you from buying things that you would like, but you got to have the cash. And after 30 days, you still have to really want that item. Guess what? The majority of stuff you'll forget about. I promise you. The 30-day waiting period works because it takes that emotional impulse, I gotta buy now because it's on sale. It takes it away. Brings us to the need or the want. There's very few things in our society that's really a need. Let's just take an example, a car, right? A car, yeah, you may need a car for commuting to work. You may need that form of transportation. But do you need a Mercedes? Yeah, I don't think so. You need a car, some kind of vehicle to get you from point A to point B. So we have to continue to remind ourselves, okay, what are my needs, and then how much do I expand on those needs as I want and want and want. So during the semester, we're going to be talking quite a bit about advertising and what drives us to buy more and more stuff. So I want you to be thinking about those needs and those wants. Because if we don't get control of our drive to buy stuff, well, we're never going to have enough money to save for our future. And saving, paying yourself first, will change your life. Something I'll be talking about more in the future. How often? This is simple. One time every year. One time. Money day. On that day, you go back, you review your spending plan. Do you need to add or subtract from your categories? You look at your spending. Okay. Wow, I spent this much money on this. Was it worth it? Ask yourself that. Was it worth it? And was that worth it? And was that worth it? You decide. I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not buy, but I am saying you need to evaluate that. Think about the value it brought to your life. So the spending plan, again, an example's on my website. You can go to the videos that talk about budgeting and spending. It's all right there on the website. Take the time to review some of that information.